Salutations, Summoners! Welcome to episode number 12 of the Casual Tryhard Legends of Runeterra podcast. It's me, Anthony, Ricoplays 1723, coming live at ya from my 500 square foot apartment in Texas. Lots of fun in here. And by my side, the man who's in New York, it's Kristos. How's it going, Kristos?
Yo. It's going good. We've had a very long week and an even longer hiatus. But we're back. We're back on track. Ready with another banger of an episode.
And ready to attack. Boomsh. You know what's funny, real quick, Kristos? It's crazy how, like, we're both from the north. We met in South Carolina. And now we're, like, doing a show in completely different parts of the United States. Technology's crazy.
Further apart than ever.
Yeah, I know. And yet, one could possibly argue that even though we're in different states, we may actually talk to each other more now than when we were both in South Carolina. So life...
You were like 10 minutes from my house, and I never talked to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, folks. Life is a crazy time. But as Kristos was saying, last week we took a little bit of hiatus again. A little bit of life and a little bit of anger towards Runeterra, I would say. I was very close to getting Masters. I was basically D1 and I was at like the 60 percentile. So I basically just needed 2 more wins in a row to get to Masters. And unfortunately, your boy was not able to do it. Granted, I feel like this time, I need to stop trying to be edgy and playing tier 1.5 and tier 0.2 decks and actually just play the decks that matter. When you get so close multiple times and then just plummet, your boy got a little angry. So he needed some time.
It's rough on the mental.
Yeah,
it really is. Like we've talked about that before a bunch of times, but just the laddering is like so bad for your mental.
Yes, it gets on you, and especially when you're like trying to create content for it. Like originally, I got into Runeterra because I love the creativity, how it interacts, and I just like to have fun and do crazy things. And you know that's fun in the beginning, and then you start winning, and then you start getting all happy, and then you're like, hey, maybe I can get to master, so you get more intense about it. But then when you start getting more intense and start putting your self-worth in your results, that's when things get real.
The downfall. Like putting you into your results is so bad. Like,
yes.
I cannot stress that enough to people listening. Please do not judge yourself by your results.
Correct. Don't do it. I'm much better than I was when I used to play Magic, but it's still something that I need to learn and grow from. So just
like you are not bad because you did not play well.
Correct. Yes. Don't let that get in your head. But because we were out for that week, there is a whole bunch of things we're gonna talk about today. First, we're gonna start with the kind of the results of the Empires of the Ascended seasonal tournament. I was able to catch some of the games. I was able to watch, I want to say, most of Southeast Asia. I don't know. I was just awake at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I was able to watch most of the Americas. I was actually following our boy Jason Sensational. He was able to make the top 16, but unfortunately, he's good, man. He hits that top 16 like on the regular. But unfortunately, he was not able to transcend the top 16. So I was able to watch some of the matches. Once again, to our listeners out there, these are top tier players, but they're humans playing the deck. Mistakes can happen. Don't feed into the toxic culture that sometimes is created around games when professionals make mistakes. They do make mistakes, but remember, like, they're there for a reason.
Yep.
So the podcast just wanted to give a big shout out to Rigby, who was the winner of the Americas, DK, who is the winner of Asia, Hipster Waldo, who was the winner of Europe, and Flying Fish, the winner of Southeast Asia. It was a lot. All the games that I saw were really good.
It comes down to one play, and you can lose the entire match.
Yep, that's how tight you have to play when you're up in the pro leagues. So just a big congratulations to the winners. They qualified for Worlds, which we talked about last episode. So I'm super happy to see Runeterra doing a good job of making these big tournaments. But what everyone is waiting for, what everyone wants us...
My question right now. My question for you, Rico.
Okay, I'm listening.
How do you feel about Chip?
I'll tell you how I feel about Chip. Okay, Chip is a cute little rock guy. I just don't know why there's so many people who are like in love with him. Like
Look at him.
I was watching a stream and like I think it was Grappler and Swim, and like instead of killing Chip, he just surrendered the match. So I was like, what?
Oh,
like,
that's too funny.
Just why do people love Chip so much?
Look at him, dude. He's so cute.
He is adorable. Is he like important in the world of lore by any chance?
No, he doesn't exist in the lore.
He's just so people just find him cute.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's the whole reason. He's just a little cutie.
Oh my. He's
like a little puppy.
A cute little puppy rock thingy.
This Malphite's son.
What? Say again?
This Malphite's son.
Is it actually?
No, but I want it to be.
What? That's it. We're saying Chip's is Malphite's son. So,
yep.
Talking about Malphite and Chip, the new Guardians of the Ancient expansion dropped, and we saw a plethora of cards come down. We also saw some important patch notes that kind of came out. So once again, we have a lot to talk about, folks. So we're just going to hit kind of like the main points. One of the big things about the patch was the nerf to Atrocity. So instead of Atrocity being 6 mana, Atrocity is now 7. I think that it is a decent enough nerf. I don't like Atrocity, so I would have liked it if it was slow. If they would have just made it a slow card instead of fast card, so you'll be able to kind of counteract it a little more, so there'll be more play.
So this type of effect at quote-unquote instant speed, or like the closest thing that we have to instant speed.
Fast.
It shouldn't be... It should be a sorcery, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm with you there.
A slow spell. It's like Magic's history has done this once, and it's gross. And it was the best card in that limited format. It was in Mirrodin in like 2002 or 3, fall of 2003 actually, and it was awful for that limited format. And so they never did it again. And I don't think they'll do this type of effect again in LOR either.
The only thing that I can say is that at least it doesn't allow your opponent to Atrocity twice.
Yeah.
Now that it's
and
7.
That's real.
And
important.
At least it gives you one more turn of trying to sneak in that extra damage, or that like one more turn of interaction. But I am not a fan of Atrocity. I'm not. I just don't like the fact that your opponent could basically...
But you play big dumb creatures and then get whacked.
Yeah, basically they just put down Nasus. They strike with Nasus for 10. They level it up. The weird little scarabs start coming out. Make all your creatures not have one less attack power. And then they just like defend, kill things, and then the Nasus gets more powerful, and they just stay on defense the whole day until they get
Yeah.
atrocity and then just kill you with it. And then the worst part is Nasus has the spell shield too on level up. So you're just like, what do I do?
It's like a 2-card combo.
For sure.
And that's not good game design, and I think they realized that pretty quick.
It has nothing to do with the fact that Nasus Thresh was the single deck that stopped me from getting Masters. Absolutely nothing to do with that. But
that's crazy because Nasus Thresh had the highest metagame percentage, even higher than peak Tia Fizz.
Yes. And you know, the listeners can be like, then Anthony, why didn't you play it? Because I am edgy and I play unique decks and I don't play what the in-crowd plays. I mean, I probably should have because
you
that's
probably
just what
should have. You get some game equity for playing the best deck usually.
You do.
But you're a better person for not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that was a big thing with the patch notes. And then the other thing that this is kind of more of like the drama side of things. But there was a definite uproar. So I don't know if you saw it on the patch notes, Kristos, but people were not happy when they announced that the Cross Shard Fringe Challenge starting on June 2nd will no longer be supported. So basically, you will not be able to like play friendly games against others who are in different shards. So if you're in the Americas and your boy is in Europe, you won't be able to play against him anymore on friendlies starting June 2nd. Usually the Legends of Runeterra Twitter sphere is pretty calm, but once they announced that, like, people were not happy. I think it was Optima who basically started a petition to get it for Riot not to do that. Basically their explanation is that it's taking up a lot of resources that they need to do other exciting things, but they did not really clarify whether they would bring it back or not.
There's no reason for them not to have it. Like, in League, you can't play, obviously, you can't play with like 200 ping on different servers.
Right.
Like card games, you can play around the world. It doesn't matter.
I mean,
the most ping you'll have is like 200, and it's a card game, so you take time to play your cards anyways.
I mean, I'm with you there. I mean, I don't use the feature, but apparently a lot of people in the community do. So,
yeah, I believe that.
So it should be interesting to see how we'll keep our ears on the pulse on that one because a lot of people were upset.
If you make a big enough stink about something, Riot will acknowledge it and do something about it.
Yeah, Riot has. I mean, they've already proven how they're really, really good with interacting with the community if the community is really, really upset by something. So it should be interesting. We'll see how they deal with that. But now, to the part that's the most exciting, is to talk about kind of the new cards that came out and to see what everyone's been doing and what's everyone been playing. So the big three champions that came out in the new expansion are Irelia. Am I pronouncing it right? Zillion. Sorry, I apologize. Zillion and Malphite. So when everything was released and everything came out, I thought that Irelia looked super, super busted. And I liked her very much because I felt like this was Runeterra's way of doing tokens, or what we call in the Magic community as tokens, which is just basically like a strategy in which you flood out the board with little creatures. I'm sure you listeners know, but in Runeterra you can only have a maximum of 6 on your board, but the way they did Blade Dance was a very creative way on kind of allowing players to kind of do the attacking strategy. So basically, when you play Blades and have a Blade Dance, it grants you an immediate free attack with those blades. And those blades are basically 1/1 creatures. So whether you have the attack token or you don't have the attack token, it allows you to go ahead and swing in with your little 1/1s. I think that was a super creative and awesome way for Runeterra to kind of handle that token aggro strategy.
Yeah, I really like Aurelia's design. Honestly, it is very well done. I like the bonuses you get for just going to combat and attacking. Like that sort of incentivizes player decisions on both sides of the board.
Yes,
of the board.
Absolutely.
And that is just a hallmark of good game design.
And then we have Zilean, who at first I thought was going to be like, oh, okay. But then the more I've been playing with him, I really, really like him. And I think that basically has to do with the fact that he is, like, he's one of those champions that you can kind of make work in different types of decks. I always like that type of versatility in the champions that I like to play. Plus, once again, talking about versatility, his big thing is being able to predict. And I love, like, it's one of those keywords that makes me feel smarter than I actually am. And it's one of those things where it allows me to cut down on some of the variants. You know, like if I'm able to kind of choose kind of the card that I want to see next, I'm always down for that type of gameplay. Anything to kind of cut down on variants, I'm always about. And his ability to get those time bombs going, especially against aggro decks, it's pretty awesome, man. I've been playing 2 different types of decks, one that has Zilean in it and an aggro style type of deck that I'll talk about later. But Zilean's ability to kind of chain those time bombs if you get those predicts going is pretty awesome. And then his ability when he levels up to kind of create fleeting copies of each non-fleeting card that you played last round, you can really, really start gaining down on hardcore value. And that helps you kind of outvalue some of the bigger decks if you're playing a bigger deck versus when you're playing an aggro deck. So that also once again shows you how Zilean can be in any type of style of deck, you know, and those are the champions that I always like to play with.
Yeah, there's, from my experience in LOR, there's 2 types of champions. There's the Tilias of the world, and like Azir and like Lysandra, Trundle all fit into that category to an extent, like Shen, Fiora too. And then there's champions like TF and that can just like go, and Teemo that can just amplify an already existing archetype, and they definitely fit that. Like, the only thing that I don't like about Zilean is that he's an annoying bastard in Legend, and you can never kill him. Because that's just how rancid his kid is. It's awful. It's terrible game design. But this, at least, seems to be very good. I really like the time bomb thing and time in a ball as a card. I like that a lot. So I'm definitely gonna play with him and see how he feels.
Yeah, I got a list that I can send you, but my list is based off of Scargrounds, but I'll talk to you about that later. And then the last champion was Malphite. So the thing about Malphite is that he's in Targon, and I refuse to play anything in Targon. So I don't know too much about it. My assumption is that, I mean, he looks like a really good card. He goes well with Talia. That's kind of been where I've seen him excel in Ladder when he's paired up with Talia, and they're kind of doing the landmark thing. If they get off to a quick enough start with those landmarks, I mean, Malphite's he's a big boy. He's already a 6'10".
He's a big boy.
He's already a 6'10" with tough, and then he levels up to a 7'11", and then you get to create an unstoppable force on the round start when he levels up. He becomes a problem for sure.
Yeah, he's a big problem. I really like Malphite's design as just like this big giant rock that you have to deal with, but he has a million defense, and he's just like bringing his rock buddies to come beat your face in. I love it.
And I've in those decks I've seen him ran with Chip. Just saying.
As he belongs.
As he is Malphite's son.
Yeah, he belongs with Papa.
He belongs with Papa. So those were the champions, but there are also some really good cards that came out this set. And there's a couple that I really want to focus on because I've been playing on the ladder, and some of these cards I feel like are like S tier. Like,
okay.
Number one, without a doubt, and of course, listeners are already going to know what I'm going to say because they know my play style. But S tier, without a doubt, Merciless Hunter. 3-drop, 4/3, fearsome, on play, grants an enemy vulnerable. This card is just exceptional, and it's the 3-drop that Shurima, I don't know if they needed it, but it's most certainly something that they want. So I can't tell you how many times I'm able to, like, let's say when I don't have the attack token, like, they'll go play their big thing thinking everything's fine, and then I'll play Merciless Hunter, granted vulnerable, and then on the next turn when I get the attack token, goodbye. That card is no more. And it's super important that it, A, grants the vulnerable, but B, because I can do it on the step in which my opponent has the attack token, I can then, when I get the attack token, I can open up on attacks. And because I'm open up on attacks, that gives me the extra, like the advantage of now, hey, you're not going to be able to play a creature. You're going to have that spell, or else that creature's dead. And a 4/3 fearsome at 3 mana, I believe, is above rate, and it's just so fantastic.
It's insane. I was the first thing that I thought of when I saw that card was, wow, they have fearsome on a 4-power creature.
Yes, that's huge. No,
4 is kind of crazy.
4 is really, really good. And she's great because when you're playing against an opponent that is either doing just tokens or being just being aggressive, like, there are times where you're going to drop this baby down and no one can block it. And you're just smacking for 4. Yeah. And then what happens a lot of the time is I'll vulnerable something and then make sure that I grab my weakest creature, grab the thing that's vulnerable, kill it, and then once again, like Merciless Hunter is just going in there, smacking face for absolutely free. So I'm telling you now, folks, like, Merciless Hunter, without a doubt, is S tier. Like, if you're playing Shurima, I don't care if it's aggressive, I don't care if you're playing Control-y, you need to have Merciless Hunter in your deck.
I think you should be playing Shurima right now.
No, yeah, for sure.
Shurima's really good.
Yes, Shurima is where it's at right now. Another card that is also in Shurima that I found really good. I wouldn't say it's S tier, but a card that I feel like is doing more than it really should be, and I think it just matters on the deck that you play it in. I've been really enjoying playing Scrying Sands. So it's a burst spell, 1 mana, give my enemy a -2, -0, but it then also allows you to predict. Once again, folks, predict is great. It makes you smarter than you actually are, and once again, it allows you to then, like, level up and think of the thing that you're going to do your next turn, because you're going to be able to choose the card that you want to see when you draw, and it's super important. And it's a combat trick at burst speed at 1 mana. Like, There are
Yeah,
going
I
to be
think this
times.
card's kind of crazy.
Yeah, there are going to be times where you're just going to like completely and utterly blow out your opponent. Like they're going to be like, it's burst speed. I can't do anything about it. Like it's over. That little confrontation, that little battle, they lost. So once again, like it's a combat trick, right? So you can't really give it like the S tier symbol, but man,
I honestly think you can. Like, this card's kind of crazy. Like, think about it in, like, Magic World. This card's insane.
yeah,
It's like kill a creature, scry 2.
yeah. I don't think you could have it in Magic. I think it's too
No,
good.
that's wild.
Yeah,
Like, and to have it in Legends of Runeterra is like even the same. Honestly, this card's just nuts.
it's. I'm telling you, man, it's broken, but it feels good. It feels good to play with. And the last card that I want to talk about in Shurima, and I think it just works really well because I play it in the Azir burn list that we'll talk about in a little bit. Ruinous Path. So Ruinous Path is 2 mana slow, draw 1. If you've slain a unit this round, drown 2 from the enemy Nexus. So I understand that it is slow, and that's, I would say, like its biggest weakness. However, it is a draw card that you can play in your aggro deck. And not only that, it allows you to drain. So it allows you to get in that extra reach, that extra damage, all in one card. So, of course, this will have to be on a case-by-case basis. You can't run this card in every single deck. But in the Azir burn list, man, I can't tell you how many times where I've attacked and I've drawn the card that I've drawn the Decimate. Or I've drawn the Arena Battlecaster so that I can win next turn. Like, just being able to draw a card in aggro is just...
It's
like,
yeah, it feels like you're doing something illegal.
Exactly. It feels like you're doing something you're not supposed to be. And it feels phenomenal. So I really think that Shurima got a lot of love. And so did Ionia. Now, the thing about Irelia, and I've read on Reddit too that actually people were calling for the nerf of the card. Irelia is a champion where you could definitely hard counter, and it doesn't take much. Like,
yeah, no.
Don't get me wrong, she's really good, and the package that she's in, especially with the new Dancing Droplet, the 1 mana 1/1 when I'm recalled draw 1, once again an aggro deck being able to draw cards.
When I'm recalled draw 1, yeah.
Yeah, and it's elusive too. So once again an aggro deck with a tool that allows you to draw, that's always good. And her ability to work with blades and do blade dance. There are times I've played a game where I didn't draw well and I wasn't able to get anything down by turn 3, and it was Irelia, and it was actually Irelia and Misfortune, bro. I should have just hit concede as soon as I didn't have a 3-drop. They popped off so quickly. I'm telling you, at round 3, round 4, I was already dead, and I mean, that's what the deck can do when it's kind of untouched. And I am sure there are going to be opponents that are going to say, yeah, well, if you play the deck a certain way, you'll get extra points of advantage, which I get it. But, you could straight hard counter this deck if you wanted to. And I don't think it takes much to do it. For example, my counter to this deck is a Renekton Sejuani with Scargrounds. And basically, you combine Scargrounds, which is a 3 mana landmark that basically says if a creature was able to survive damage, give it +1 and give it tough, right? So, and you put it with Iron Maiden, which is a 3 mana 3/2, deal 2 to everything. So what basically happens is you play Scar Grounds and then you play Iron Maiden. So Iron Maiden every round is going to deal 2 to everything. So while Aurelia is playing all these like one defense creatures, you play your Iron Maiden, everything dies. And then on top of that, because you have Scar Grounds there, your Ember Maiden is now going to become a 4/1 with Tough. So every time they attack with the blades, which are 1/1s, they're not going to do any damage because now your creature has Tough. And a 1/1 doesn't do anything to it. So I don't know. It's a great champion. It's a great card, but I don't think it's worth nerfing, man.
I don't think so. I'm currently looking at building an Ionia Noxus deck with LeBlanc and Aurelia.
Oh, okay.
For just like hard beats.
Like hard beats.
Yeah, like this is the beatdowns.
Yeah, it's got some good tools like Syncopation. I got blown out by Syncopation a couple times. 2 mana burst, swap 2 allies, where you think every.
Like, I'm talking about like swapping like some stinky little like spiders with Aurelia around, and then LeBlanc to deal damage. We have a little bit of burn with like Noxian Favor.
Yep.
Like Might to give anyone overwhelm is like. I think the tools are here.
Yeah.
We can make like a nasty aggro deck.
And then the last card that I wanted to talk about, which I got absolutely blown out by. Like, I just played my things and I didn't even read this card. But they were able to beat me in round 3. I mean, they had the nut draw. But it's Tyrion Sump Worker in Piltover and Zon. Okay? So it's an elusive 2/1. When you summon another Tyrion Sump Worker, obliterate me and transform allied Tyrion Sump Workers everywhere into Sump Works posses. So it's like a cute little thing where it's like one little creature then becomes a whole bunch of creatures. And it becomes a 2 mana elusive 4/2 on attack, deal 1 to enemies and the enemy nexus.
Pretty good.
So my opponent then ran this with Imperative Improvement, which let him copy another Tyrion Sumpworker to become Sumpworks Posse. And on round 3, I was staring at 2 4/2 elusives that were then dealing 1 to all my enemies, thus dealing 1 to all my creatures, thus killing them all. And
you lost.
I had nothing, bro. Like, I was completely blown out. I didn't even read the card, dude. I was like, what the heck is my opponent playing? Whatever, like, my opponent's probably some Timmy Jimmy, like, doing whatever. And then, dude, I turned around, my things were dead, and I was staring at these elusive creatures. I was like, wow. So I think it might be Mimi, but it also might not be Mimi. I might try it out later, but just keep an eye on that. Don't get blown out by it, because I sure as heck did.
It's kind of like how decks are made, right? You're like, yeah, I want to do this thing, and then you do it, and it's actually really good, and then you just keep trying to push it. So like, if you see something like that in the letter, just try to push it. That's all you can really do.
Yeah. But those were kind of the big cards that I kind of saw while laddering.
Okay.
I know you haven't had the chance to exactly ladder yourself, Kristos, but are there any cards that kind of caught your eye, or did I kind of touch on most of them?
Because I think you touched on most of them. The only cards that I'm like super high on are the like Ribbon Dancer type stuff with blades, because I want to push that mechanic as hard as I can.
Yeah, you definitely can.
And then the Zillion stuff is kind of interesting to me too, like the Time Bomb, Time in a Bottle. I also think Clockwork Curator is like low key good. Advancing Allied Landmark by 2 rounds is really nice.
Yeah, for two, it's better than that other one that we talked about where they just
Yeah,
it was like a 4 mana like.
it might be like a key that works out really well, and then also Eye of the Ra Harok, the 5 mana landmark that acts like a saga wooden magic is pretty neat.
Yeah. So I just by what you're talking about, man, I really would suggest for you to do to try the like Talia Malphite thing. Because
Yeah,
all the cards that you're
I'm
talking
gonna
about,
play around with that.
yeah, all the cards you're talking about are all like landmark based, and the new tool that y'all got, especially if you want to hit that, is Rockfall Path, landmark countdown 2, obliterate the weakest enemy. So
Yeah, like that
that's
card's
pretty.
insane.
Yeah, that card's pretty cool. It reminds me. I don't know if you ever played it, but back in the days when I was still trying to find my card game space, Kristos, I used to play a lot of Shadowverse, and in Shadowverse, there was like a deck that was basically based off of enchantments, landmarks, this type of style, and the key component to that was having this type of landmark, like to be able to kill off your opponent's creatures while using a landmark. So I think I remember talking to you before that like eventually Talia is gonna have her moment in the sun.
Yeah,
I'm not
100%.
sure if it's there yet, but it's coming. If this is
So
kind of the
you
direction
can
they're
loop.
going with,
You can loop that card that I just talked about.
the Eye of the Raharak.
Yeah, you can loop that with Talia.
Yes, I've lost the game because of it. Correct.
So that's kind of nasty, and stuff like that is like a really interesting space to try to explore and push. Because if you can just loop stuff like that, that is like a really heinous and very strong end game.
It is. It is. I wasn't happy to see it, but I got obliterated by it.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah. Okay. So I can't wait for next episode to see how everything's gone, because this part of the meta is usually the part that I think I most enjoy, when everyone is trying to kind of figure everything out, and when you go into ladder you have no idea what you're facing against. And even though there are times where it causes some really heinous, disgusting blowouts, I feel like the most fun of the times, because like you don't know what you're getting up to, playing against. Like for me personally, when I'm not like trying to like go be masters and go super hard, I don't mind losing in like a crazy way that I never would have thought. Like there are times where I'll like just clap from my opponent because like they got me in a way that I never saw coming. And I know there are competitive people who would be like, Anthony, no, you're losing. But like that's what I found beautiful of card games, like being able to do things, and even lose to things that you never saw coming. I don't know. Is that how you like to play the game, Kristos, or are you more of a I would say
Yeah.
Brofe style, who just is like, we're gonna win, and that's it.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I hate to lose, but as I've gotten older, I've started to respect my opponents for like doing some like out of the box cool thing. And like when they, even if it's like a glass cannony type thing where it's not gonna work all the time, when they do it and I happen to be the one they do it against, I'm like, all right, you got me. That's pretty cool. Good job, I guess.
Good job, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like I just hate to lose. But if you do beat me in a cool way, I will respect it.
I just remember like all the times us playing Magic at the store. Like we had a really competitive group, dude.
Yeah.
like
We did.
like thinking about it, like we had. I mean, that's what made us great players, right?
Yeah.
But I've definitely chilled some since
Yeah,
those days.
I mean, we're all like very good players. So it's yeah. We none of us want to lose. So we all just want to win every single game that we play and sit down and play our best. and that's what drove us to be very good.
Like, even when there were times where we were playing, like, Legacy versus Standard. like, like, we wanted to win all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I was wishing the mulligan to 3. Do it. I was wishing the worst on you. That's how it is.
Mulligan to 3, man. Mulligan to 3.
I remember sitting across the table from James Bowman going 4, 4, 4, 4.
Yeah. Oh my god, those were good times. So I know you haven't been able to ladder a lot, but I will say, Kristos, I've been like, I think I'm in platinum. I'm either in gold 1 or platinum right now.
Mm-hmm.
And for you listeners out there, if you're ever looking for like really creative decks that aren't necessarily like always going to be T1, you want to follow I believe he's from France. His name is Kuvira Lore. Kuviralor. I follow him on Twitter, and he creates like really good decks that end up either being tier 1 or just like being on the crisp of it. And I took his list for Azir Burn, and man, this deck is just fast and quick, and it does the things I want it to do like every single time.
That's great.
Yeah, so basically, once again, it revolves around like the Azir strategy of being able to summon many creatures. It's just more. It has more of kind of like the Getcha burn style than the full out combo with Lucian. So it obviously has Azir, and it has things like Dune Keeper, Legion Rearguard, Legion Saboteur. Basically, you're kind of like aggressive Noxus cards, going with the way up to Iron Ballista and Arena Battlecaster. And then it has your Shurima aggressive and some of your bigger cards. So it has, I think it's pronounced Bakai Reaper or Basai Reaper. It's your 1 mana fearsome 1/2 when you slay a unit, grant me +1/+0. That card is a sleeper because there's going to be a point. There's going to be a point in the game where your opponent has to block, and they're gonna like lose their creatures. And every time you kill that creature, this guy just gets bigger, bigger, and bigger. So make sure that when you line them up on attacks, you put them at the far end, so that you can take full advantage of you killing your opponent's creatures. I'm saying that because I've been asleep at the wheel and just attacked and totally missed lethal because I didn't put this card where it's supposed to be. So just saying. And basically the way this deck works is you just keep on attacking and hitting, and then eventually you'll either kill him with a Decimate at the end, or you just get them with Arena Battlecaster because there's just too many things going out wide for hitting too powerful. So I love this card. This deck. Azir really is a powerhouse engine. Like, him being a 1/5 just is crazy. And being able to tie in Ruinous Path, like I was talking before, where you get to draw one and drain, like, this deck pops off really quickly. And I think this deck can beat, I've beaten Aurelia multiple times. And this deck is just really, really quick. I love it. I think it's a deck that, for right now, if you're looking for kind of like the tier 1 or the deck that's going to start the meta, I think this is the deck.
Neat. I will get back next week and see how that deck is performing.
Yeah. We'll see by then, because the way that the meta works in these digital card games it's crazy how quickly things evolve. And then the other deck that I've talked about before that I'm playing with, it was kind of like I kind of got sick and tired of losing to Irelia in the beginning. So I just created a deck that was a straight up counter. And it was Zillion and Renekton with Scargrounds. So as I explained to you before how Scarground works, and they just, if you have that turn 3 and Ember Maiden turn 4, they just can't beat it. Like the aggro decks cannot beat basically getting swept every single round. They just can't beat it. But then when you play against decks that are much bigger than you, you fall into I'm the smaller version of mid-range. So
yeah, that's the only thing that I was going to say.
Yes.
You got to be careful with that.
Yes. So as I said, it was a deck that was just purely, like I saw it on Twitter, that was just purely like, are you sick and tired of losing to pure aggro? Well, get on board with this deck. And I was like, yeah. But just talking for like win percentages, with the Azir Burn deck, I have a 73% win rate out of 20 games. I'm not that great of a player, folks. So, you know the strength of your deck when you realize you do a misplay and you still win. And this deck is, for me, at least one of those decks where you can misplay and still just grind out an advantage.
I mean, that's just good deck building.
Yeah.
I know we say that as a meme a lot, but that is just good deck building.
Yeah. So if you don't follow Kuvira yet, it's Kuviralor. Actually, I'm trying to get him on the show because I've used his Sejuani Teemo deck last season. I had also a ridiculously good win rate with that deck. So I don't know, the way he thinks is the way I think. So I do really well with his deck. So you definitely need to follow him and follow his stuff because he produces really good content and really good decks. So Kristos, on kind of talking about decks and the meta game. You've talked about it a little bit, but kind of what are the decks that you want to play, and kind of what are the decks that you think are going to come out of all of this?
I'm going to approach this set a little different.
Okay.
And see if I can't make a shell of a deck that I really like first, and then see if someone has a similar idea and put the two together.
Got nice.
Normally, I wait like a day or two and see what people have done, and then like build off of their ideas. But I'm gonna try to get ahead of my curve, I guess, a little bit. I still think control decks are gonna be good. The Lysandra Trundle-esque stuff. I think there will be an aggro place in Aurelia, and I think like Aurelia LeBlanc is where I want to start. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but it's where I'm gonna work on. And we'll see if like the mainstay of like Spider aggro is still good a week from now. I doubt it, but it might be. Some form of like a Nasus deck will probably still be around because that card's just a little rancid.
Yeah, Nasus for sure will always be there. I hate it, but it's gonna be there.
And like I want to see if the Jarvan deck that we were talking about a couple weeks ago is still around. Like I want to see what becomes the premier mid-range deck that people kind of coalesce around. That's where it'll be at.
I've seen a lot of Twitter, in the Twitter sphere, people like trying out the elite strategy, just because like a lot of the elites have tough, and right now like if you have tough against Irelia, it's
tough's a really good meta call.
Yeah, you win the game. So that might increase more of Jarvan, but I really feel like it hasn't been solved yet, but I really feel like there is going to be a place for the landmark Malphite strategy. Just because I think it's going to be the biggest mid-range deck. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. I know that I'm excited. I'm really going to try to peacefully and comfortably get to Masters, because once again I was so close last season, and I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to last season. I'm going to try to play a little bit more this season without exhausting myself, because I really want the show to be able to say, hey, like, we have Masters players on the show. So that's going to be kind of my goal this season. Next week I have my vacation, so I should be able to play a little bit more than usual. So we'll see how that goes, because work has been a little tough. So that's what's been...
Yeah, work's been a lot. And I've been playing Apex a lot recently. Like, the season just rotated, but last week I played a ton because I wanted to hit Platinum just to see if I could. And now I want to hit Diamond and Masters just to see if I can. But I noticed, like, right as I was hitting Plat, I had to change how I was playing. And I was like, this is a point in every ladder game where you have to, like, say, okay, I need to, like, sit down and get better at this game if I want to keep progressing. And is that something I want to do?
Yep.
And it happens every time, and it's the same with LOR. It was with Magic. I was like, okay, I want to actually, like, sit down and play these PPTQs and, like, win and maybe, like, get on the Pro Tour or do something like that, like be an SCG grinder. And it's something, like, it happens with golf where if, like, if I was a little bit better at golf, I wouldn't want to play anymore.
Because you would obsess over it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, like, I am, like, a 12 handicap golfer right around. So that means, like, if the course is a 72, I shoot, like, an 85.
That's pretty good, dude.
Yeah. So, like, I'm okay at golf.
Yeah.
But, like, if I was, like, in the high 70s, I'd
be over.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be over.
Yeah. It's just... It's my nature to, like, want to be the best, and, like, if I see it and it's within, if I can, like, push myself to get there, I'll do it. So it's hard to balance. What I'm saying is it's hard to balance work and life and your hobbies and your passions.
Yeah,
it's a lot
for sure. Alrighty, folks, we are close to hitting our time limit. So if you want to, make sure to chat us up on Twitter. If you want to talk to me specifically, I am Anthony Ricoplays 1723 at Twitter, also known as El Charua Rico. You can hit me up there. I'm basically always on Twitter, so if you want to DM me or at me, just go ahead, go for it. Kristos, where can they find you on Twitter?
I am at Kristasi Vivo and Twitter.com, and that's how you get to me specifically. If you want to hit up the Casual Tryhard LOR podcast, we are at casual_pod. I will respond as soon as I can if you want to shoot us a DM or have any questions for us. We are also on Discord, and there is a link in our little profile bio for that as well.
Yeah, so far it's just been me posting about decks that I like to play. So if you want to come on down and post any cool ideas or any decks that you think are creative, or if you think I'm wrong, go ahead and just hit us up on Discord or tweet at us. Whatever you guys want, we're always willing to have conversations, and we want y'all to, even as I said before on shows before, we even want y'all to come on the show, just so we can have more people talk about their experiences of Runeterra. Eventually, I would like to start like a little practice squad so our members can kind of practice with each other. And my ultimate goal, Kristos, this is going to be the first time I'm ever saying this on live air, but I would love to kind of, and I know this is advanced, man, I get it, I know, but I would love to kind of create a league.
Yeah.
Where here's my thing, and I like tournaments, man, but I don't have the time to devote that many hours in one day. So if there was a league where, you would play maybe like 2 matches, and we would kind of run it like the European Super League for the soccer players out there. No, yeah, kind of like a soccer league or something like that, where you get points for wins, and just so there was a competitive environment, but you just don't do it all in one day. I don't know if it's actually viable in the card world, but it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot lately.
That would be really cool. I would even be down to like watch people play and tell them the stuff that they're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, can you imagine like a world where we just get it like a couple, it doesn't have to be a lot, but like a couple of players, even if they play two matches each, and then like you become a caster in those games.
Yeah,
Do you
that'd
get
be
what I'm
tight.
saying? Like that would be.
Dude, I have a secret talent where I am like a really good caster.
There you go. You see what I'm saying, man? Like
Like
the
I used to cast Call of Duty games when I wasn't playing in them in the Eastern MLG leagues
see there,
back in
folks.
like, oh god, this is like 2010.
Let's
Yeah,
let's make it happen, folks. All right. If you want to be
come
part of
through.
this, if you want to be part of this league too, just come on down and talk to us. Just because like it allows people with time constraints the to still have that competitive outlet, because laddering, as we all know, can sometimes be bad for the mental.
Miserable.
Yes. So just another thing that I've been thinking about. So we'll see if we can get enough people and what we have to do. But as always, from me, Rico Play 1723, it's sayonara.
And we'll see you next time, Summoners.
So I know we talked about it on the show, Kristos, and it really kind of hit me, like it triggered a chord with me when you said it. But I'm also one of those individuals that when they get to a certain skill cap, it feels like I have to, like it's in an innate
I
calling, that if I reach a certain skill cap, then I have to be good, or that I have to be the best.
mhm.
But it is very hard to do so when your boys work in like 50-hour weeks, like
Yeah,
having
it's
having a
so hard.
fiance, having friends, having fur babies, and like devoting all that time to one thing for me can sometimes be very, very like difficult and toxic.
Yeah, it's just like you have to put things on hold that you desperately do not want to put on hold.
Right.
It's awful. Like there's not enough time. Like that's the whole saying. There's not enough time in a day to do all the things that you want to do.
Cause like I try to be super competitive with Runeterra. There's no doubt about
Mm.
that. But I also play other games. I
Yeah,
I play Pro Evolution Soccer. When you get me on that game, man, and I know I'm good. I just want to be the best, and then I want to play that game, and then um, there are times where I'm like, okay, like I need to be off of the online competitiveness. So then I put myself into an RPG world. But then once I get into that world, I'm like, all right, if I'm
you're
going
just
to be
stuck
spending so
in.
much time in here, then I'm going to try to like max out everything. And then I
Yeah,
do. So now lately, what I've been having to do to like calm myself down and calm my brain down. And if you tell me there's a competitive version of this game, I'm gonna punch the
okay.
screen. Kristos, don't ruin it for me.
What is
Okay?
it?
I've been playing Stardew Valley.
There is no competitive Stardew
Oh,
Valley.
thank God. Thank
There are just people who
God.
really like to play that game.
So, like, Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing have been,
Hmm.
like, the two games where I'm like, Anthony, it's not
You have to
competitive,
stop.
bud. Okay?
You have to stop.
You're just, all you're doing is planting some flowers and some and some fruits and vegetables, and you make money, okay? It's fine. Because Christos, and I think you would agree with me here. when I was in Magic, that is all I did. Like, I worked, would play Magic with either basically the boys or Profe, then go home and watch Magic content till I fell asleep, and then do it basically every single day until Friday. Do Friday Night Magic, Saturday do the PPTQ, and then Sunday relax by watching
Sunday was the sleep day.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So, like...
But it's like, so I've always said, to be a pro Magic player, and this goes for anything, it is a minimum 70-hour-a-week job.
I
Minimum.
agree.
And it's like a heartbreaker that you just can't devote yourself to these things as much as you would like. It's just not feasible unless you're an actual pro. And like, to make that jump is kind of insane.
It's tough when you have to balance everything else, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Like, there are some people, and it used to be a lot easier, that do a 9 to 5 and then are also a pro, and they're just like insane humans who are just so good at the game and have the natural talent to just be gifted enough to do that sort of thing.
Yep.
But that's very obviously not everyone. And we just kind of have to come to the realization that we won't be able to do the things that we used to, and we won't be able to dedicate every weekend for a year to playing a PPTQ like we used to.
Yeah. But
it kind of sucks, but it was a good time while it lasted.
Yes. The big thing, though, I would say, is that, like, for personality types like ours, it's okay not to be great at everything. And I know it's hard.
A hard pill to swallow.
It's very hard, because in your head you're like, I'm devoting all this time. Like, when I would go below 3-2 in a draft, in an F&M, like, I would freak out. Because I was like, how can I be so bad when all I do is consume this content? But that's not the right way of thinking about it. Like, every game that you play, every experience that you have is slowly building to making you a better player and hopefully a better person. So it's okay. You don't have to be great at everything. As long as you're enjoying yourself and you're having a good time, ultimately, that is what life's about.
Yeah, I think definitely since the pandemic hit, I have taken a big look on what I value in my time.
For sure.
And now I mostly play games with my friends for fun because I love my friends and hanging out with them.
Yep.
And they like make me laugh every day, and it's great. But every once in a while, we like turbo sweat a game, and it feels good to just like turn the screw back on. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, of course. There are definitely times where it's like you need to get that competitive edge out. Like, for me, the reason why I became so invested in MTG was because, like, I was such a huge soccer player. Like, I was supposed to be really good. Unfortunately, things did not turn out the way that I would have wished if I was only 6 foot. But so just getting your competitive edge out on things is good. It's just you have to be able to balance. That's the key of life, balance. Yin and yang.